Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Jon Krabill. I'm the owner and founder of My Small Business Blueprint. We are a small business strategy and consulting firm here in Central Ohio, coming from you live in Galloway, Ohio, actually. And it's raining outside, and I had some yard work to do, but if you make hay while the sun shines, I guess you record videos and make content when it's overcast and gloomy. So if you hear some clickety-clacks or you see one of the dogs running around, I mean, this is coming from my home, and I wanted to kind of reach out to you today. You know, the other day I was thinking that I've been involved with small business in some way, shape, or form for probably about 14 years at this point in time, coming up on 15. On my own, I've been involved either running a small business or consulting with small business for darn near 9 years. And one of my favorite lines is, "The days are long, but the years are short." And I think that really rings true with this path that we've been on here with myself and with My Small Business Blueprint. Sometimes those days can be long, and you're working and you're working and you're working, but then you look up and your kids are 10 years old and almost 7 years old, and you wonder where those years have really gone. So I kind of want to reach out today and give you a little bit more information about My Small Business Blueprint, how we came to be, and why we are really in existence. And here's the thing with small business. When you wake up in the morning, you have competition from dozens, if not hundreds of sources. And this could be something where you operate a brick and mortar in a small downtown area, or it could be all e-commerce, all web-based content and sales. And you could be on Etsy, and you could have hundreds of different sources of competition, not to mention some of the big brands that we compete with on a day-to-day basis. So in order for small business to really go forward and attack every day, be aggressive every day, we have to focus on some key themes to get people attracted to and educated on our small business. And especially in today's day and age, you have to give people reasons to, one, not dismiss you, right? If you're doing social, if you're doing any type of advertising, to keep going once they see your name and to keep peeling back the layers to that onion. The next step is you have to give them a reason to start to trust you, and only at that point in time can they go forward and really learn more about your product, learn more about your service, and come to the realization that you are legitimate, you are in this capacity of small business and in any industry that you operate. So with that realization, I need to be able to do the same thing. And the reason that I'm so glad that you guys were able to sit down and join me today is that with entrepreneurship and small business, there is so much good information out there. You can listen to a Gary Vaynerchuk. You can go out and listen to podcasts. You can go out and find your local SBA or SBDC, and all those are really great sources of good information and good capital to be able to move forward. So what is it about My Small Business Blueprint that I love so much and why I do this? This is my why statement. Like I said, almost 10 years ago, we had our twins, Jackson and Jared. At that point in time, my wife took off from her teaching job for a year to stay home and take care of them. I worked at a local sports marketing firm, sports marketing agency, and was doing really well. Went through that almost whole first year with the kids being around, with the twins being around, and I go into work one day and I find out that I'm going to be laid off. And this is a situation that so many, not just Americans, but just people find thrust onto them. And it's the uncertainty of knowing where the next paycheck's going to come from. It's the uncertainty of knowing about housing and shelter and food and utilities and all those basic necessities and clothing that just keeps families moving forward and keeps families doing well. So we went through those emotions. We had our pity party for ourselves for about probably about 24 or 48 hours, and then we figured, okay, we got to do something. My wife wasn't going to go back to work for another 4 months, and with twins and double the amount of mouths to feed at home, we had to figure something out. So the next step that we took, we actually started Killer Dough Cookie Company, and there are not many sports agents that go from the world of international sports marketing to baking cookies. I mean, it may just be one, quite frankly, me. But that's what we did, and we relied back on our strengths. We relied back on our network and what we felt that we could launch, not only from a family situation, but also a personal situation, taking advantage of our strengths, taking advantage of our resources. And we did really well with Killer Dough Cookie Company. It was a lot of fun. If you've ever had some of our cookies, and we had some really great, really loyal customers, we had a lot of fun with that process. Not only just producing the chocolate chips and the peanut butters and the things like that, but also taking some crazy steps and trying some new things as well. So we ran that business for about 3 years. We operated out of our home because we wanted that family flexibility. A lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings, a lot of pausing to feed the kids in between. But when our twins were just about 3 years old, Jarrett was diagnosed with celiac disease. And if you know anything about celiac disease or gluten, you can't be around it. I actually think his diagnosis was 1 part per million, or maybe 10 parts per million. Anyway, it's a really small number. And he would get violently ill. And so when you make a good chunk of your household income with flour and wheat and gluten and all those types of things, and every time you do that, he has a reaction, you stop that business. You stop down that path. And for as quickly as we got started with Killer Dough, we shut it down just as fast, just for the sake of our family. And to take a little tangent, I think that's why we do a lot of small business, right? That's why we do seasonal or part-time, is because we want to provide for our family. We have some innate desire to better our personal situation or pass something down to our families, to our children. But back on track. So, I've been teaching entrepreneurship for over 6 years at this point in time, worked with hundreds of different students to help them in their entrepreneurial or small business venture, and it could be across the board. But I've also started my small business blueprint within the past couple of years and really taken my time to focus in on the types of businesses that I like to work with. So why small business? I think it's because it is unique and specific to every individual out there. It is my belief that every person has some skill set that is marketable, that is desirable, that is valuable to another target market or another customer base out there. And here's the cool part about it. It doesn't matter what that skill set is, right? Let's say you like working outdoors. Let's say you like landscaping. You can go and start a part-time lawn care landscaping business. Let's say that fashion is your passion. You could do an online-only fashion boutique. I've worked with some recently, Stella and Grace Boutique, which is awesome. Started out that part-time and is now full-time. It doesn't really matter, right? It goes back to what you are interested in and how you can provide that great value to a customer base. So a small business, that's the value that I see. If it's seasonal, it's seasonal. If it's part-time, it's part-time. If it's nights and weekends, it's nights and weekends. It's what works for you and what works for your family and the goals you're trying to achieve. So from a small business perspective, I love seeing them start at point A and grow to point B, C, D, E, something like that, or they're already in that process. Like I said, it's so easy to start a new business nowadays. Sometimes the value doesn't come there. It comes from going from point E to point M and really growing, really accelerating that business. So with my small business blueprint, my why of why I'm here is I love working with people where they are and getting them to their goals. I work with people from all different types of industries. I've worked with landscapers. I've worked with fashion, and I get, like, you look at me and fashion does not just jump to the forefront of your mind. I get it. With salons, with pet services, all those types of companies. And here's the key part to it, right? It's not the industry that matters. You can work in all those different industries. You can have businesses of all different sizes. It can be e-commerce. It can be brick and mortar, things like that. But the key component for small business is you provide and create real value for your customers. Once you do that, you legitimize yourself in their eyes, and the business starts to gain momentum, and you can accelerate that growth to whatever goal, to whatever end state you want it to be. So I thank you for your time today. My why is I love helping people. I believe that small business is the path of the future for not only Americans but all across the world. to take control of what your future family state is, future fiscal state is, whatever it might be, whatever your goals are going to be. So I encourage you to check out our website here at mysmallbusinessblueprint.com. You can look at the Small Business Spotlight series. You can read through our blog. You can read through some of the consulting services that we offer too. Feel free to reach out, Jon at My Small Business Blueprint. If you have questions, if you want to connect, please do so, and would love to sit down, would love to take the time to learn more about you and see how we might have the opportunity to work together. Thanks for your time today, guys. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye.